And on Dallas, where they expected to place their franchise tag on star wideout George Pickens. The projected cost of that tag would be roughly $28 million. But according to Jerry Jones, the Cowboys plan to lock in Pickens for at least next season and beyond. Take a listen.
George all the time by virtue of my excitement for him. And he's better than as far as what he contributed to our team. Showing the potential that he could contribute. So I'm looking forward to getting things worked out so George will be a Cowboy a long time.
Graz are keeping you busy here today. What more can you tell us about the Cowboys' plans for George Pickens?
We know from past experience that there's no one less afraid to use the franchise tag on a star player than Jerry Jones. We've seen him do it with Dak Prescott a couple of times. We saw him do it last year with Micah Parsons. Obviously, that didn't work out. That is my expectation, that it will franchise George Pickens. And sure, they'll continue to talk to him about a long-term deal. But the question is, what does he want? Does he want to get near the top of the wide receiver market off a big year? Or would he be okay with being the T. Higgins to C.D. Lamb's Jamar Chase, the Devontae Smith to C.D. Lamb's A.J. Brown? These are good numbers for number 2 wide receivers. The question is, would George Pickens want to do that? The franchise tag projects right around this area here at about $28 million. If they were to franchise him the next 2 years, that's $62 million over 2 years. You would think any contract negotiation would start at that number in terms of guarantees and the first 2 years payment. But we'll see. This could be filled. I know it's been a long time, but this could be an offseason where we talk a lot about contract drama and a Cowboys star.
Well, listen, and if you're Pickens, 93 catches, over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, you're not going in there acting like a number 2 wide receiver. You're just not. And so I think the idea that, they could be at odds in terms of how they see, how Pickens sees himself and how the team sees him potentially could be different. And then the history, Graz, as you mentioned, in terms of, quite frankly, I think the Cowboys have been cheap. They've been reluctant. They've been slow. Ultimately, it's cost them more money or a good player because of how they've handled it. And I could see it going down a similar path in that if he's franchised, maybe he plays on that deal. But ultimately, if they want to keep a player of his caliber, then it'll take true number 1 wide receiver money, because there were parts of this season where he was the best wide receiver in football. And he, in terms of size, athleticism, and things that he can do that other guys can't do, even guys like Puka Nacua, like guys can't do, like that's going to get rewarded by somebody in the National Football League.
Cowboys and contract drama. What else would an NFL offseason be without that? But let's go to a couple more thoughts beyond George Pickens. Acho, he's going to probably be tagged. But is there another part of the Dallas roster, or parts, that should be focused on this offseason?
The Cowboys should be focused on addressing their secondary. The reason why is that defensive line has been improved dramatically. Quinnen Williams, outstanding young talent. Kenny Clark, a veteran in the game. DeMarvion Overshown at linebacker, a steady force. But I think that cornerback position needs to be addressed. They have a new defensive coordinator in Christian Parker, a young defensive mind, 34 years old. I understand the defense struggled last season, but if you just add some pieces on the back end to complement what Dallas will be able to do on that defensive line, I think that'll help this team be more complete. Yes, George Pickens and C.D. Lamb and a young offensive line, first-round picks all around it, but I think the corner position needs to be addressed.
Keep in mind the Cowboys own picks 12 and 20 in the upcoming first round of the 2026 NFL Draft. Let's go to quarterbacks. The Cowboys are all set there, but one of the most intriguing names on the QB market is Packers backup Malik Willis, who's scheduled to become a free agent in March. With his dual threat traits and positive signs of development, he made a major impact during his opportunities in Green Bay. In 4 appearances, including 1 start in 2025, Willis completed just under 86% of his throws, rushed for 123 yards, and accounted for 5 touchdowns. Graz, back to you one more time. What have you been hearing around the league about the market for Malik Willis?
Well, he'll have one. I don't doubt it. It's a light year in free agency and in the draft, I guess, for quarterbacks. So he's shown enough in Green Bay to do a lot of teams. And we'll see. I think, most people I talk to kind of figure something along the lines of like the 2-year deal Justin Fields got with the Jets last year. But if there are enough teams interested, it could certainly go even higher than that.
There's no doubt that there's going to be a market for him, I think. You mentioned kind of he's at the top of it, quite frankly, and because he's played, because of the fact that coaches that are connected to guys in Green Bay or came from Green Bay are going to places where they need a quarterback, I think it'll be strong for Willis. I think Willis will end up finding himself in a situation where, he's getting starter money, and he's going to get a little bit of a runway because of how he's kind of remade his career with how he played in Green Bay when he had the opportunity.
One of the teams that could be interested in Malik Willis, and this is just me dot connecting here, is the Miami Dolphins, who have a huge decision to make when it comes to their own quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa. The Dolphins are looking to explore trading partners for their starting quarterback, but if Miami decides to just cut Tua, it would leave a $99 million dead cap hit, which would be the largest in NFL history. Keep in mind that Tua led the NFL with 4,624 passing yards in 2023, made his first and only Pro Bowl that year. He then went on to sign a 4-year, $212.4 million extension of July that following offseason. Since then, things have not gone great. The Dolphins' single collar is below 500 and has seen dips in both his quarterback rating and his yards per attempt over the last 2 seasons. So, Graz, it's going to be a difficult pill to swallow for Miami no matter what. How likely is it they find a trade partner, though?
I don't think it's super likely, Field. He's guaranteed $54 million this year, and another $3 million for next year becomes guaranteed early in the league year next month. So if the Dolphins are going to trade Tua, they're probably going to have to pay down some of that contract. Keep in mind that $99 million dead money is roughly the same percentage of the cap that Russell Wilson's $80 was for the Broncos 2 years ago.
I understand that, but I would actually lean towards not only letting go of Tua, but going with Quinn Ewers, a young quarterback who last year got a chance to show what he could do. I understand the dead cap hit, I get that, but with the new coach in town and a new culture, it's likely that they're not necessarily going to find a trade partner, but release Tua, take the cap hit, and start afresh either with Quinn Ewers or maybe address it in free agency, maybe a guy like Kirk Cousins or the draft.
You got to throw up the hook 'em horns and you bring up Quinn Ewers, my friend Sam Macho. The Cardinals find themselves in a similar position to the Miami Dolphins as they are also exploring to trade their veteran quarterback, that being Kyler Murray. If Arizona decides to release Murray before June 1st, they would take on a $54.7 million dead cap hit. A lot, but not much compared to Tua Tagovailoa. If you did this as a post-June 1 cut, you could spread that money out over 2 years. After 3 seasons with Jonathan Gannon at the helm, Arizona has turned to Mike LaFleur as their new head coach. LaFleur has served as the Rams' offensive coordinator the last 3 seasons. He's now going to look to turn the Cardinals' offense into what is arguably the toughest division in the sport. They do have the 3rd overall pick in the upcoming draft. So, Tim, what should Arizona's plans be for Kyler Murray?
I think they should plan on releasing him. Much like the Tua situation, I don't know that you end up finding a trade partner for Kyler. Now, I do think when he hits the open market, there will be teams that are very interested in him, mainly because, he's been a starter. He does have a unique skill set that I think that coaches believe that you can win with. And there are going to be places, whether it's the Atlanta Falcons, who, find themselves in a really tough situation because